Chapter 2, Lesson 2, Part 1, Subtracting Integers. Subtracting integers simply means adding the inverse or the opposite. So to subtract integers, you're going to change them to addition problems and follow the rules for adding integers that you learned from Lesson 2.1. For example, -4 minus 3. In step 1, we're going to keep the first digit the same. So we're going to keep -4. Step 2, change the subtraction sign to addition. Simple enough. And step 3, change the second digit to its opposite. So here we have a +3. We're actually going to change that to a -3 because we changed it to an addition sentence. So now we're just going to follow the rules of addition of integers to add. -4 plus -3. I'm just going to add them together. -7. Okay, here's another example. 12 minus 15. So instead of doing 12 subtract 15, we're going to change it to an addition sentence. Again, we keep our first number, 12, change our subtraction sign to addition, and change the second number to its opposite. It was a +15, so now it has to be a -15. And then you're just going to use the rules of addition that we learned in lesson 2.1. So they're going to use the absolute values. -15 minus 12. So here we have 15 minus 12 is 3. And you look back at your original problem here, which was higher than negative. So your answer is a -3. So I highly recommend when you're doing subtraction of integers that you're going back and looking at your notes for adding integers after you change it to an addition problem so that you're using all of the right steps. So let's do some sample problems. Here's a word problem they give us. The submarine is 250 feet below sea level. So below sea level, that's a negative integer. It descended 180 feet. Again, descended means going down. So that's where they get minus 180. And how many feet below sea level is the submarine now? So we have a subtraction problem, -250 minus 180. Instead, we're going to do addition. -250 stays the same. They already changed our subtraction sign to addition for us. And now here you have a +180. We're going to turn that into -180. So using the absolute value rule, the absolute value of -250 plus -180 turns into 250 plus 180. 250 plus 180 is 430. Go back to our original problem of -250 plus a -180. Remind us that our answer is going to be a -430. You may have remembered that when adding two negatives, when you get to this step of -250 plus -180, you can just add the negative numbers and keep them a negative. But we wanted to demonstrate the absolute value way. So anyways, to answer this question, use the common sign, a negative sign for the sum, and the submarine is 430 feet below sea level now. We just use a regular 430 here because they say below sea level. So let's do some practice problems now. 18 minus 32. First step, keep my first number the same, change subtraction to addition, and change my last number to its inverse. So here I have +32. This becomes a -32. So now we're going to follow the rules, of course, and use absolute value. The absolute value of 18 equals 18, and the absolute value of -32 equals 32. So going back and subtracting, 32 minus 18 equals 14. So now I need to look at my original problem, 18 plus a sorry for that interruption, 18 plus a negative 32. Because 32 has a larger value than 18, my answer is negative 14. Number 3, 15 minus 27 becomes 15 plus a negative 27. Absolute values come first. Absolute value of 15 is 15. The absolute value of negative 27 is 27. Now we use our rules for addition to change addition of opposite signs. So that becomes a subtraction problem. 27 minus 15 equals 12. So I'm going to look at my original problem to determine whether that's a positive or negative 12. Because 27 has a larger value than 15 and 27 is negative, our answer is a negative 12. I know it seems like a lot of steps, but these will go very smoothly if you keep practicing. Here we just have some more examples. 23 minus a negative 6. Again, I keep my first digit, change to addition, and change my second to its opposite. So here I have 23 plus 6. We don't need to do anything fancy here. We have two positive numbers, so 23 plus 6 is 29. And now we have negative 12 minus a negative 28 in letter B. Our first number stays the same, negative 12. Change subtraction to addition and make that a positive 28. Again, this is the steps here where you're going to use the rules for adding integers with different signs. So the absolute value of negative 28 minus the absolute value of 12, or 28 minus 12 is 16. And we will keep the sign of our digit with a larger value. So 28, which is positive, has a larger value than 12. So your answer is a positive 16. Let's try this one right here, number 5. 22 minus a negative 9. Well, I'm going to keep my first digit of 22, change it to addition, and change negative 9 to its opposite, which is a positive 9. And simple enough, we have two positive numbers you're just going to add together, so that equals 31. So we're just doing a lot of practice here so you can get familiar with it. Negative 17 minus negative 5. We keep our negative 17, change it to addition. Negative 5, change it to its inverse of a positive 5. Now we're going to use absolute values and the rules of adding integers with different signs. So negative 17 minus negative 5, the absolute values of both is simply 17 minus 5. 17 minus 5 is 12. So we're going to go back to our original addition problem of negative 17 plus 5 to determine if our 12 should be negative or positive. Because 17 has a larger value than 5, our answer will be negative since 17 is. So again, we're using a negative sign because 17 has a greater absolute value. I would like you to try number 7 and 8 on your own, so please pause the video now and come back to check your answer along with the steps you did once you're finished. Okay, now we have some more examples here where we're doing more than two integers. So just like when we were adding integers, we're going to do it 2 digits at a time, 2 in a row. So negative 15 minus 7 is what we're going to address first. Actually, we're going to change all of it to addition first, and then we can deal with it 2 at a time. So negative 15 stays the same. We change this subtraction to addition, and this negative 7 to its opposite. Its opposite is a positive 7. Then this subtraction sign becomes an addition sign, and negative 18 becomes its opposite, which is positive. So now this is where we go one step at a time, or you can group positives and negatives together. But in this example, they did negative 15 plus 7, which they didn't show the work, but I'll show you. They did the absolute value of negative 15 equals 15. The absolute value of 7 is 7. They subtracted 15 minus 7 equals 8. And then because our larger value was negative, that's where this negative 8 comes from. So now negative 8 plus 18. Again, we're using the absolute value. Negative 8 equals 8. The absolute value of 18 is, of course, 18. 18 minus 8 equals 10. And it stays positive because our positive number had the higher value. So they didn't go through all those steps here, but I highly recommend that you work them out step by step until you are getting answers correct really quickly. Let's do number 9. Negative 17 will stay the same. It's our first digit. Change that to addition. Here we have a negative 5. We're going to make it its opposite, positive 5. This also becomes addition, and negative 3 comes its opposite as positive 3. I'm going to add together my 2 positive numbers first. Just a simple step I can take. That's 8. Now I have negative 17 plus 8. So here's where absolute value comes in. Negative 17. The absolute value is 17. The absolute value of 8 is, of course, 8. So 17 minus 8 equals 9. Because our original question was negative 17 plus 8, 17 is negative and higher value, so your answer is negative 9. Number 10, negative 20 plus 15 plus 3. Again, I'm just changing the addition sign or the subtraction signs to addition and making the numbers their opposites, except for the first digit. Again, I'll group these two. 15 plus 3 is 18. I'm saving myself a step by doing this. And now I have negative 20 plus 18. So I'm going to do the absolute value of negative 20 is 20. The absolute value of 18 equals 18. 20 minus 18 equals 2. Here, 20 has a larger value than 18. So our answer of negative 20 plus 18 is a negative 2. Again, this is the time where I would like you to pause the video, try numbers 11 and 12 on your own, and then come back and check your steps against mine. I hope you got these correct. And that's the end of the video. Again, this is one where I highly recommend you do as much practice as you can and make sure you're checking every step, looking back at your notes on adding integers to make sure you're not missing anything. If you answer something with a negative sign that should be positive or vice versa, it will be wrong. So again, make sure you're checking your signs that you have the correct answer.